So, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking rodeo whiskey.
Why don't you hold it up?
I'm drinking some little bit of rodeo whiskey that Pooks and Dylan brought me. It was really good whiskey, folks. If y'all hadn't had this, you don't know what you're missing. Pretty good whiskey.
Look, he's a
smooth.
Talking to the folks.
Got a good flavor. Put a little water in it. And kick back and let your nerves relax.
What are we gonna have to eat later?
This evening we're having chili.
What's in the chili?
Oh God. We have hamburger meat, of course. We have garlic. We have tomatoes, jalapenos, mushrooms, zucchini, squash, leftover ribs from Cheddar's. And I made some chicken fry out of that little calf we butchered. I cut a piece of chicken fry that was left over, put it in there. Tomatoes, canned tomatoes, chili beans, garlic, onions, beef broth. I guess that's about all. That's a pretty good little chili too.
Point to it.
There's that BB in my lip.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's right here, under all this little furry stuff. Anyway, I was probably 12. I've told this story to this kid 100 times, but I was probably 12.
When you were 12, what date would that have been? Around what year?
Well, I was born in 46, so if I was 12, it'd be 58. 1958. So, me and several buddies of mine, being Dan Hawley and Eddie Stagg, Sonny Brady, Mike Hawley, myself, we were hunting on the Willow Marsh Slough Ditch. So we were rabbit hunting with a pack of dogs. We all carrying either 22s or shotguns. And I was up on a Willow Marsh Slough levee, and the dogs were running a rabbit toward me, and Eddie Stagg and Dan Hawley cut loose with their shotguns, and I was victimized by their shot. We got the rabbit though, but I got the pellets as well. Down to where I rolled down, blood running everywhere. Had a khaki shirt on. BBs all in my khaki shirt, my neck, in my ear. I was able to get them all out. Had an old windmill out there in the pasture. You know, with a concrete tank around it. I pump water in that tank for the cattle. So we went to that tank, and I washed off, and then Eddie and Dan pulled the BBs out of my neck, my ear. We had one left right here, we couldn't get it out. So, I get home, and of course Mother wants to know what's my lips all swole up and bloodied. And Mother wants to know what happened. I said, oh Mama, you know, we were hunting, I just fell down, stuck a stick in my lip, no big deal.
Tell her why.
Reason being, they'd take our guns away from us. Yeah, we was all, 10, 12-year-old kids. It ain't like today. I mean, we had guns in our hands from the day we could walk, probably. Anyway, so I tried to coerce my older brother, Gene, to get the BB out of my lip. But he wouldn't do it. He said, no, I ain't gonna do that. So, I had a good buddy of mine named Robin Buckos.
This is sometime later, right?
Yeah, this is several weeks later. It done healed up. You couldn't even see it no more. We're at Robin Buckos' house. My best buddy, totally inseparable when we were in school. We did everything together. And Lomp come over. We're talking. Rob wouldn't cut it out, so Lomp, yeah, I'll cut it out, Michael. It's okay. So we get in the bathroom and we get all ready. I said, all right, Lomp, whenever You slice it with a blade, I'm going to squeeze it out. He sliced it. I squeezed it. Ain't nothing but blood come out. It hit the mirror, splattered everywhere, and lump hit the floor.
He fainted.
So, consequently, we didn't get the BB out. I still have it.
Do you think he was...
And my daughter...
Did you think your friend was dead? Do you think you killed him?
No.
A fright?
No, he wasn't dead.
How did you wake him up?
I don't remember. I don't know how we woke him up. I don't. Maybe like in the cowboy shows, maybe we poured water on him. I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But he's a little bitty bathroom, and he filled the whole damn bathroom up. Kind of like Reagan there. I mean, a great big old guy. Hell, he had a duck go through a door. Anyway. That's enough on. Anyway, we killed a lot of rabbits that day too. We always kill rabbits. I mean, you can't even see a rabbit today. I mow that whole 400 acres down there, and if I see one rabbit, I mean, you got to just stop and just say you're in awe of seeing a damn rabbit. Before, when I was a kid, I mean, we'd go kill 15, 20 rabbits. Oh, you couldn't carry them all.
Maybe that's what happened then.
No, because it's
15, 20
that old saying about breeding like rabbits.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean they breed like rabbits. So anyway, that's said about the BB. And what else?
Why don't you tell us when you were born and where you were born?
Mm-hmm.
And who your parents were and where we come from.
Okay.
Okay.
My parents come from, my father, Eugene Martel. He was born in 1902. And he come from Crowley, Louisiana is where he was born. My mother, she was born in 1905. And she was born in Church Point, Louisiana. Okay. And so my dad's father, my grandfather, Charles Martel, left Grandma when he was 9. Daddy was 9 when Grandpa left Grandma. Uncle Grady, which was born in 1911, was just a baby. So Daddy went to work, shining shoes and doing odd jobs in Crowley.
Because his father left.
Because Grandpa left Grandma.
Right.
Uncle Arthur was older. That's Daddy's older brother. He was a bit older. So he left home on his own. And Dad went to work shining, whatever 9, 10-year-old kid can do, So consequently, never got an education. He couldn't read or write except for his name. Mother went to the 3rd grade. She could read the newspaper and books, a few books, she could read. And they come to Louisiana probably in the 20s, early 20s sometime, 1920s.
Louisiana or Texas?
Come to Texas.
Okay.
And the way I heard it, that Daddy and Grandpa came here on a train.
But not Charles Martel. It was a man that your grandmother had remarried to.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe. He was a Como. Excuse me. Yeah,
You're
Como.
Right.
He was a Como. Right. And Grandma was a Nolan. Marietta Nolan's her name. Mm-hmm. And Grandma stayed in Louisiana with Uncle Grady until they set up shop here in China, Texas, between China and Nome. And they went to farming.
So they came on a train. Did they have anything with them?
Yeah, the animals in one car and the implements in another. And they set up shop down here, farming. And probably Uncle Pete, which was Daddy's stepbrother from Grandpa Joe's son, Uncle Pete. Anyway, they come here. They did that. Grandma come later on with Uncle Grady, and Mother and Daddy had already known each other. I believe they met up here, wound up getting married, and had 7 kids. 1 died, boy. There was Bertha, Bernice, Joe, Barbara, and then the little boy that died, I don't know his name. Then Jean and myself. And I was the only kid born in a hospital. The rest of them all born at home. Reason for that was the doctor said Mother was too old. She was 41. And so she advised him to go to a hospital. So I was born in a hospital in Beaumont, Texas. We were at that time living at 1310 Amelia Street, Beaumont, Texas. Amelia, Texas, excuse me.
You need some more whiskey?
I will. So, I was born in 1946 to Eugene and Clarice Martel, and went to school at Amelia Elementary, Amelia Junior High, and Forest Park High. Graduated in 1964.
Before you go any further, what happened when you were a baby?
I don't remember. I was a baby.
What did they tell you happened when you were a baby?
They said that they tried to starve me. Mother had always breastfed all the other children. Well, they decided that they were going to be in a modern society, so they started feeding me with a bottle. But I kept crying and losing weight, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me after a week or so, or whatever, however long. I don't know how long it was. So they take me to an old doctor, Dr. Brown. And so he looked at my mouth, according to what I'm told, and I had blisters and sores in my mouth. So he asked Mother to show him the bottle that I'm sucking. So she shows him the bottle, and she said, well, Clarice, it's simple. When you feed a kid with a bottle, you got to cut a hole in the nipple. So they put a hole in the nipple, and I went to sucking, and all was well. So, if that's what you're speaking of.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, when I was a kid at Amelia, it was a little old country town. Beaumont city limits was at Hillbrant Bayou in College. It was a little old 2-lane highway run through there. And Amelia was a town just like Nome or Devers or Raywood or anything at that time. And so you could have your dogs loose. You could walk around with a gun in your hand. And I can never remember not having a BB gun, a .22, or a pellet rifle, or something. Had a big old dog named Rebel. And my cousin Marietta, which was named after Grandma, which was Tony got and Uncle Grady's daughter. She was born in 42 or 43. Right in there somewhere. So, me and this old dog, we were kind of like your dog. We were buddies. We did everything together. So, he would, this damn old dog would, the bus stop, we were straight across was probably 3 miles from the schoolhouse, but you know, by road, it's all different. Bus would pick me up at the bus stop, and we got to the schoolhouse. the damn dog was waiting for me behind the cafeteria where the bus dropped you off, where the school bus dropped the kids off. And he'd run around and play with us or whatever. And in the evening, get on the bus, he'd be waiting for me at the corner in front of the house when the bus pulled up. It's a pretty neat deal. I mean, you see that in, in the movies and things. But this shit really, this stuff really happened. It really did. I mean, it was pretty neat to have a childhood like I had. Anyway. So, as time progressed, well, in 1957, Amelia voted to have Beaumont annexes, and the whole damn world changed. You couldn't have a gun inside the city limits.
Well, before that, though, when the dog was still running around, he eventually learned to ride the bus, didn't he? And go in the school?
No, he never rode the bus.
Okay. He went in the school.
Yeah, he just catches. He didn't get. But in the 5th grade, this went on for several years. But in the 5th grade, I was, my teacher was Mr. Mistro, big old tall guy, big thick glasses, a really neat guy. He'd take us on field. We didn't have a football field, stadium. We had a rodeo arena behind the schoolhouse. Then behind the rodeo arena was nothing but woods, just woods, big woods. I mean, a lot big stuff. So you played football in a rodeo arena, or mainly football. And then Mr. Mistro was a kind of an outdoors kind of guy, even though he didn't look it, but he was. He was interested in wildlife. So he'd take us on field trips. And old Reb, he'd follow us on them trips, and be with us. Friends of all the kids. Mr. Mistro liked him. And so anyway, we were, one day it's kind of an old cold, dreary day, and my old dog was with us in the playground. He just followed me in the building. Come in and lay down in front of my desk. And Mr. Mistro just let him stay. The rest, when he was there, he wanted to lay under my desk, he'd lay on my desk. Pretty damn neat. Anyway, that was about old Reb. But he was go swimming with me, hunting with me. That kind of stuff. But that ended when I was in the 6th grade, 7th grade, 12 years old. And dog catchers caught him because he couldn't run loose in this Beaumont city. I mean, it's the whole town was the same. It just we're in the city. So the dog catchers catch him, haul his ass off to the dog pound. So I go to Daddy and we talk about it, and we go to dog pound and get the dog out. It cost Daddy, I don't know, probably 50 cents. I don't know what it cost. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it cost, but he had to get his shots, all his shots, whatever shots they had to get. Then they had to pay for his room and board, cost Daddy money, And we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, I can understand that. So when we got home, the old man told me, he said, "Okay, son," he said, "we got that dog out. You're going to have to keep him tied up. We can't afford to be paying for this dog's bond, bailing him out every time he gets picked up." Okay. So I tied the dog up. He can't go to school. He can't go hunting with me. Unless he's on a leash. You can't hunt with a damn dog on a leash. He can't run. He's screaming and he's hollering and he's barking and he hates it. I hate it. So I'll come home one day and I just turn his ass loose. I can't stand it no more. You know, enough's enough. You know. Well, it ain't long. There ain't no more dog. They get him again, I guess. Daddy comes home from work, worked at Mobile Law. Well, it was Magnolia then. Where's the dog? I don't know. You untied? Turn him loose? Yes, sir. I said, okay. So he went back in the house, walked on in the house. I never saw my dog again. That was the end of it. And I know where he wound up out there, and they put him to sleep and put him in the dump, probably. But I never saw my dog again. Like I said, that was the end of my dog. End of really a good time in my life. It really was. It's terrible. It's terrible. And so anyway, it hardens you. You know, I can't imagine a kid today that happening. It'd be terrible. But anyway, it happened. And the old man, he wasn't being mean. He was just, it's his life. It's just the way it was. You know, it's just the damn way it was. He wasn't mean. The old man wasn't mean. He was hard. The old son of a buck was hard, man. He's unforgiving. About my dad and Rayford and Bernice. Yeah. Rayford being Bernice's husband, my brother-in-law.
Bernice is your
sister. Yeah. One of my sisters.
Make sure you say how old you were when this happened.
I was probably maybe 14, if that. If that. I can't really remember. About 14. It was 8th grade. What are you in the 8th grade? Ninth grade, something.
13, 14,
yeah. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, they, so I'm told, I don't really know, but he was abusive to my sister in regards to physical and mental abuse. And Dad, like I say, pretty hard old man. So they busted up, got a divorce, had 2 children, Ray and Tina were the children. Bernice and Rayford's, my niece and nephew. So they come and lived with us, Bernice, Ray, and Tina, at Mother and Daddy's house. And so one day, Rayford pulls up to see the kids or whatever. He was there. He come to the house. I don't really know why he came to. I just know he came. You know, when you're a kid, you're not tuned in to what's really going on. Mm-hmm. But I do remember that Bernice didn't want to go outside and didn't let Ray or Tina go outside. Daddy went outside. And here comes Rayford by the mailbox, walking up the driveway. And I don't know if he ever said anything, but Daddy just cold-cocked him, knocked him dead on his ass right there. Get your ass up, don't get in that car, and don't you ever come back to this house. And he's never come back to the house. Daddy put him on his ass big time, boy. Bam! And I'm sitting on the porch watching this. I said, son of a bitch. He cold-cocked him, boy. Like I say, the old man was pretty hard. But that's what happened to them. That was again another spectacular moment with my father.
Let's talk some more about your dad and, for lack of a better word, racism.
Well, racism was pretty prevalent when I was a kid. Never went to school with black people. Never associated with black people until I joined the Navy in '64. And I'm assuming you're talking about the beach cabin, the garage apartment that was supposed to be a beach cabin.
I don't know what.
The concrete work.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That was supposed to be a beach cabin.
Oh.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Daddy and Buddy, my brother-in-law, my oldest sister's husband, worked at Mobil Oil. They went on strike, so they decided to make a little extra money. So they'd go into Beaumont, some of these old dilapidated houses, and tear the houses down, clean the wood, and resell the wood. Well, they said, well, instead of selling it, we'll just build us a beach cabin. So I don't know if they had a lot. Like, again, I'm a kid. I don't know if they had a lot or was it going to buy a lot or whatever. But a hurricane come through. Audrey, maybe. 60. I can't remember. Mother decided, no, we ain't building nothing on that beach, have it washed away. Okay, so they had this wood. Well, we'll build a garage apartment and rent it. That's the old man's thought. So we had a garage there, a 2-car garage and a wash house in the garage. That's where Mother had her washing machine. No dryer, just clothesline with a dryer. Didn't have a washing machine. So they tore that old garage down. Buddy and Daddy and probably Gene, probably me. Had a brother-in-law named Ernest, lived in Woodville. My other sister's husband named Barbara. Barbara was born in December of 32. So, got it all tore down, and Ernest, my brother-in-law, worked for a company called Brown and Root, which did highway work. And he had some big steel forms to pour concrete. You didn't have to build it with wood. You could just set it up with pins and stuff and make a form. It was a lot easier, from what I can remember. So anyway, here comes Ernest. Got an old black man with him. His hair is like that.
White.
Yeah, white. So they commenced to start working on the farms and doing this and doing that and whatever they was doing. I'm probably in their way, but I was there. Come time for dinner, well, Mother lays a spread. Cook for everybody. It was me and Daddy and Buddy and Ernest, Mama, and this old man, this old black guy. So we go in there, sit down, started getting ready to eat. And we're sitting there eating. And I can't even remember the old man's name. Barbara would remember the old man's name, I'm sure. So I said, well, where's whatever his name was? I can't remember his name. Well, he's on the porch eating. So I picked my plate up just out of courtesy, just out of, come on, we're all sitting there eating. He's on the porch. I go out there and sit on the porch with him. Start eating. Next thing I know, Daddy's at the porch. Swings that door open, looks down at me. What in the are you doing? I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was at the time. And he snatched my ass up and took that belt off and started working on my ass. Don't you ever sit and eat with us, ever. The whole time mortally whipping my ass. In front of this old guy. All right, he's right there. He's seeing it. He's hearing it. And another one of them hard moments of Daddy. We had several of them.
What year?
Yeah, like I say, the old man was hard, boy.
What year was that?
Probably 58, 60, somewhere in there. I'm just guessing, something like that. Yeah, the segregation stuff. The integration, that wasn't even. Yeah. You still had white and black water fountains, white and black restrooms, white and black counters.
Well, tell us about the point about racism and Caucasian people and African American people.
In regards to what?
You were saying something about that in the Navy. Or were you just saying that in the Navy that was the first time you had
that was
really
my first my first association with them. I mean, I didn't go to school with them. There was none around us, and it was all white neighborhood. You know, they had all black neighborhoods, that kind of deal.
Even in high school, you didn't have any.
Zero, none, not that. None of. We had no blacks in our school in '64. Zero. Okay, so I mean, it was a popping a cherry when I got in the Navy. And like I'm sure some of them as well. Okay, so it was a, double-edged sword. When my kids, when I say Christy, Chelsea, and Chip, I was very adamant that there'd be none of this racial crap in my house. I was pretty neutral. I stayed neutral, tried to stay neutral the best I could.